Hey everybody, my name is Jim. We're starting a YouTube channel. The name of the YouTube channel is going to be Find Your Marathon, which I guess, most people would think is about running, right? It's not necessarily about running, though that's something that I do. And just so you have a little background on me, as it stands, like in this very moment in time, I'm a certified personal trainer. I work out of a gym based in New Orleans. I have clients who I'm coaching for weight loss, peak performance. I have some elite athletes, some older clients, younger clients, a lot of executives, men, women, teenagers, you name it. I'm probably coaching them on some level. I'm also myself an endurance athlete. I like to run ultra marathons, and if you don't know what an ultra marathon is, one, I don't recommend it because it's really stupid, but it's anything that basically you're running longer than your standard marathon, which is 26.2 miles. And trust me, that is really far enough for anybody. But because I have deep-seated emotional problems that are solved by running, I like to run farther. But that's where I am today, right? It's summer, it's 2018, and that's who I am. I'm a dad, I'm a father of two. I am on my, I guess, third marriage, for lack of a better term, and somebody who seemingly, I guess today, life looks a lot different than it was 7 years ago. And if you knew me even 10 years ago, you certainly wouldn't expect me to be the man that I am today, right? At least outwardly. 10 years ago, I was 350 pounds. I was just moving into New Orleans. While I might work in fitness today and be a fitness professional today and make my living doing that for really 99.9% of my adult life, I was a radio executive. I was a talk show host once upon a time. And I want to be very clear, I was a really bad talk show host, which is why I became a news anchor and news director, and I worked in radio management, for one of the largest radio companies on the planet. They have a heart, if you know who I'm talking about. And I was a regional manager when I left that industry. And by left, I mean I was laid off with a lot of other people, a while ago, and then decided that I just didn't want to do it anymore, and got into fitness in my late 30s, and this year I turned 40, which again, really weird thing. Typically when you talk to fitness professionals, and I think what makes us a little bit different here is that most people are athletes, right? They've been athletes their whole lives, or they went to college to learn how to train people, or they have a background as a registered dietitian. They were runners, or they were football players, or they did something, or certainly in their life, and especially when they have their dogs barking at the people across the street, they have some background for this. But my background is as a media and marketing professional. My background is as somebody that, if I were getting on an airplane in 2011 and you had seen me coming down the aisle, I would be the guy. Hey, Josephine, stop. Okay, yeah, and I'm a real person with the dog shooting this in our backyard. But if you had seen me coming down the street, or coming down the airplane aisle in 2011, I would be the last guy you would want sitting next to you. I was 350 pounds, going through my second divorce, and part of the reason why, and I tend to be really open about this sort of thing, part of the reason why that, my wife left me and ran around on me, which, happens, is because I was overweight, grossly overweight. My father died at 76 that year as well. So 2011 was kind of a turning point in my life where I decided that despite all of these things that were happening to me, I wanted better, right? And I think a lot of us are kind of in that position where, what? Yeah, I might be doing okay professionally. Maybe I'm doing okay in my relationship at home. Maybe I'm doing okay with my family, but physically I don't feel good. Physically I feel like I want more. And I can tell you that the one thing that I knew in the summer of 2011 when I started my journey was that I really wanted more than what I was getting out of my current life, that there had to be something that was going to be better physically than the state that I was in right now. And a lot of it was just, I went into my journey, and it started in June of that year, thinking that, what I really want is I just want to feel better. Like, yeah, sure, I want to look better. I want to be thinner. I want to be more active. My son at the time, from my wife number one, was 4, and I really thought that there's no way that I'm making 40. There's just it's not happening. Like, you know, I would eat too much. I was smoking every day. You know, I was drinking a lot. You know, every poor behavior that somebody could engage in was something that I was probably doing at least once or twice a day. And I was trying to change that. And while professionally, yeah, sure, I was doing good. I can't complain about the career I had. But I wasn't happy. And I thought that there had to be something that was better. And I thought the one thing that I could control was that, you know, I could certainly feel better. Like, maybe I can exercise. I didn't know what to do. And I think a lot of people, they kind of think like, yeah, you know what, I want to feel better. You know, I want to look better. I want to be more active. I want to be there for my family. I want to be there for my kids, but I don't know how to start. And it's going to take too long, and I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know if it's going to be successful, right? You know, there are billions of dollars a year that are spent on fitness and losing weight, and feeling good, and transforming who you are, not only inside but outside as a human being. But none of us really have any really good idea of what it takes to start. And I, like you, was no different, you know. And it was funny. I was trying to, you know, think like, okay, cool, like, yeah, maybe I need to eat a little bit less, and maybe I need to start working out. You know, but at 350 pounds, I assure you that everything I did was difficult, you know. Going down the stairs in the morning hurt, right? It felt like I was stepping on glass. My knees hurt, my ankles hurt. You know, I had a shoulder issue that I was working through. It certainly affected my golf swing. You know, I can tell you, tie my shoelaces. You know, when you're that far gone, you know, simple things like shoelaces and going to the bathroom, cleaning yourself, getting a shower, walking by a mirror and hiding and ducking cameras, those were all very real parts of who I was. And when I started, I had no concept that my journey, now 7 years later, would take me to where I am today. And I get asked all the time when I'm sitting down with clients and when I'm sitting down with people that I'm talking to, you know, they ask, like, well, how did you do that? Like, how do you go from this one extreme to the other? How do you find the willpower to climb the mountain? And what I can tell you is this, that one of the lessons, and I think if you're going to take anything out of seeing this video today, and look, and it sounds real cheesy, right? And I apologize, I'm full of hokiness and cheesiness when it comes to motivation, because I just really think that, especially in this world that we live in, where we're so mad all the time, and we're so angry, and everything bothers us so much, and we're so cynical, and we always think like, well, there's no way I want to believe this, because that's just going to make me like everyone else. I mean, we tell ourselves a lot of stories. I really think, like, you know, a little bit of hokiness and cheesiness kind of goes a long way, right? You know, because after you hear it and you believe it and you start watching it, then maybe you want to run through a wall for a minute. And yeah, that feeling is fleeting, but you know what? You could keep it going. There's nothing stopping you for looking for something else, you know, the next day. And one thing that I tell every client that I start to work with, and I have the privilege of coaching, is that, you know, the one thing that I'm telling you, yeah, sure, I'm going to work you out, and I'm going to try to talk to you about eating better and finding things that work for you. And I can tell you in this video series, that's what we're going to do. We're going to help you pick nutrition plans that kind of fit your life. We're going to talk about tips for going to a restaurant. How do you, like, let's say you want to do some sort of endurance event, even on a small level, like a 5K. How do you get ready for something like that? How do you start working out if you're overweight, or if you're underweight, or if you're older? All those things we're going to cover. But the biggest thing that you have to watch more than anything else in the first step to taking any journey of fitness is that you have to really believe in what is possible for yourself. If you never believe in what is possible for yourself, you can't ever get there. And I can't tell you how many times I sit down with somebody and the first thing they do is, and look, I really believe in saying goals out loud, right? Like, okay, cool, if you want to lose 50 pounds, great. I want that for you too. What does that mean? What kind of work is it going to take? How long is it going to take? What's a realistic time frame to do it? Right? But I'll often get to that point like, okay, cool, so what does this mean for you? Let's quantify it. Let's be specific. And I'll ask somebody, and I'll say, okay, great, you want to lose weight? Because look, that's the most common thing. Certainly it was for me. And people will say, like, well, no, I want to be realistic, right? Yeah, sure, I want to be 175 pounds, but I'm going to take 200. And I stop them right there, because you can't start hedging your bets right off the bat. You have to believe, and it doesn't matter if you're 14, 24, 34, 44, 54, 64, doesn't matter. You have to believe in your heart and really want this for yourself. Because the one thing that I learned in my own journey of being a guy who was 350 pounds to someone that is now 180, and I guess a fit person, I've been called skinny, which is awesome. The one thing I learned is that you have to fully commit and embrace what you want from the jump. You have to go all in on who you want to be, and that with enough hard work on a long enough timeline, you can do anything that you want to do. Now, yeah, sure, most of us, maybe we're not going to run the Boston Marathon, or maybe we're not going to be elite, professional athletes, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to feel better and be our best self, right? But to get to that place, you have to really believe that it's possible. And sometimes it takes sitting across from someone who's done it. I'm different in that I know what it's like. Everything that you have probably done, every addiction that you probably have, unfortunately, those are things that I'm still fighting every day. And I wish I could say I have all the answers. I wish I could say I could solve every problem. I wish I could say I still don't struggle with how I eat and who I am, which is a whole other thing, right? And the things that I see in the mirror versus what other people see. I wish I could say all those things, but what I can tell you is this, that the commitment to work on it every day and to be present about it has transformed my life for the better in a way that I never thought was even possible. And it started with a willingness to try. It started with a willingness to fail. It started with a willingness to get up every day and do those sort of things. So your first tip, the first thing I want you to take out of this channel and the journey that I go on, and through this you're going to meet people I work with, clients, you'll meet my family. The one thing I want you to take out of this is that you have to believe in the possible for yourself. All the other work, the mental preparation, everything else that we physically have to do is part of it, but the most important step, nothing else works if you don't believe that your journey is possible for you and those around you. So if you like the message, I hope you subscribe, click the button. We're going to be posting a few times a week. I know we've certainly got a lot of interesting things coming up. One of the things that we're going to be covering really, really soon is one of the big things out there right now is the keto diet, right? Well, yeah, and that's certainly something that's been around for a long time. It's named a different thing today. I've been experimenting with that. Recently ran a race on that. We're going to be talking about that and kind of some of the effects and just in general how you would adopt that and other nutrition plans to maybe potentially your life to get you where you want to go. So thank you everybody for watching this. Again, dare greatly, believe, and know that this is a journey. It's a journey that takes a long time. It is certainly a process, but it is possible for anyone. And I'd like to think that, somebody like me is living proof. Good night, everybody.